bit about what the Leaders Award competition is all about. Its main aim is to inspire young people ages 3 to 19 to look at the world around them and design solutions to different problems. This can be a problem such as how you brush your teeth in the morning, or to a big worldwide problem such as we are experiencing now, and seeing if you can design an invention to solve it. We provide opportunities, just like we're doing today, to meet and interview engineering professionals online to help inspire you and think of ideas and start designing some of your own inventions. Also to help you with this, we have lots of available resources on our website. So after our interview today, make sure you register for those. Our suggestion is you make this into a weekly challenge as you're home learning at the moment, to interview different engineering professionals online every week, which we will provide, and look for different problems in the world each week you'd like to solve, and then design a different invention every week. Just before you all then head back to school, choose your favorite invention you have come up with and take this into your school to then send off for our engineering professionals to read and grade. Now, without further ado, I'm going to now pass over to Murat, who's a design engineer for John Crane UK Limited. Hi, Murat.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Alex, for the introduction.
I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now, Murat. I think you should be able to share yours from there.
Okay.
Oh, great. I can see you there as well. Brilliant.
You can see the whole screen now. Excellent. I'll start the presentation. I have a bit of a long presentation, so hopefully I will stick to the time a bit. Like you said, I'm a design engineer. I'm working for John Crane UK Limited. Before I start my journey with you, really, I want to just remind people, if you want to remember something, you better take some notes. It's best to take good notes. I'll tell you about the Touch of Leaders Award, talking about my hometown a little bit, my education, my career, my journey to the UK especially, and some career highlights, what I really enjoyed in my career, and some benefits of volunteering like I've done with institutional mechanical engineers and primary engineers. And maybe here and there you will get some advice for yourself or your children.
Have you shown your PowerPoint yet, Murat?
Do you not see it?
No, I can't see it yet, no.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me see it. I thought you activated it automatically.
No, don't worry.
Expand this. When you activated the thing, the layout changed altogether, so I have to bring it back on.
Don't worry, mate. Let me just...
It is allowing me to share my presentation now. You should be able to see it now.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, perfect. That's it.
Right. You can see it still?
I can see the slide. Yeah, there we go. Brilliant.
Okay, sorry about this.
Don't worry, no, thank you, Murat.
And like I mentioned, taking notes is quite important. So what should not be forgotten should be written down. There are many quotes you can see probably. Like I said, hometown education, my career, my journey, some volunteering advice, and a few things I will mention along the way. You asked about Leaders Award, what you need to do. You literally need to fill in a form just like this and submit it to engineers like me to review, basically. You try to describe it with some images, some descriptions, and anything you can think of, and you have a single page to fill in. If you win it, you will get to show your picture to everybody, and maybe your design will also be actually prototyped, and you will actually get to see your design. So that's quite an amazing challenge. Like I mentioned, I will introduce my hometown a little bit. I am from Trabzon. I was born in Vakfıkebir, that's in Turkey. It's slightly bigger than the UK, about 3,000 times the size of the UK, to be honest. So my hometown is quite green. It's a coastal place, and I am from actually a farming family. So we grow hazelnuts in my hometown, literally. And this is sort of just a view of my house our house in Turkey. And you may ask, why did I even bother coming over here and lose all this beautiful scenery? But there you go. Trabzon is a big city. It has a very proud history. My hometown especially is very famous for its special bread. You may know Trabzon by the team, Trabzonspor. There are a few things you can see in Turkey as well. This view is from the plateau I spend most of my summers in. This is literally the view I enjoyed all my summertime, and it's about 2,000 meters high. So I was pretty much like Heidi and Peter, to be honest. So we were herding cattle and collecting wood and whatever you can think of that you can do in a plateau that you don't have much to do really. Like I mentioned, we also played barefoot football every day, and but we also built some wooden cars. And my brother eventually grew up, but we still enjoy playing with these things. So I suppose engineering for me starts from that young age, really. If you search for formulas, which is LAS stand for the people where I am from, literally. If you search for it on Google, you will see a lot of great videos about it. So when I was 5 years old, I had to travel from Trabzon to Eskişehir. That's another big city in Turkey. That took me out of the village and put me into a very big city with great facilities. My father opened a grocery shop. I had an engineer uncle there who really influenced me. I did all my secondary school, like primary school education there, and specialized in science. I received my first computer. Obviously, we shared with the siblings. Windows 98, 56K internet connection, nothing like you will ever see here now. I played a little bit of an instrument, played some chess tournament, football tournaments, and managed to win some. At the high school, I also did a 1-year enhanced English preparation program, so that really set the base for my English level now. And obviously in Turkey, the education system is different. So we had to prepare for a national exam. That's 3 hours long. And I specialized in maths, physics, and chemistry. And that was the route for my current mechanical engineering career, really. So I sort of wanted to be a computer engineer, but being in the first 7% nationally wasn't just enough for that kind of university in the right city. And I was quite happy with the mechanical engineering career, and Karadeniz Technical University was quite well known in Turkey as well. So I'm proud to be studying there, actually. The campus is amazing. And they have this actual jet starfighter in front of the mechanical engineering building that really inspired us. I had to pass some exam. I skipped 1 year of the English preparation program. My 30% of my modules were actually taught in English. So I really had to know English then. I learned about drawing, how to model things, 3D modeling and everything. I joined machine clubs, chess clubs, and I actually attended some events with the Chamber of Mechanical Engineers. And the equivalent for that here is the Institutional Mechanical Engineers. I actually took some extra modules to free up my time last year because I wanted to prepare for something I needed in the future. So I'm planning what I need and getting things in place way in advance. I got the highest GPA, grade point average for the first year, but then gradually reduced in the success basically and managed to graduate 7th out of the 100 people in the class. So it was still okay, was still good. And I lived in a university dormitory while I was there. So it's like my family stayed in Eskişehir. I went back to my hometown and stayed in a dormitory. So build up to 2008 was literally mostly a disaster. So it was not easy at all for me. My father managed to lose all his business, all assets and everything due to supermarkets opening, all the credit cards and everything. So I was applying for jobs and tried to get internship abroad and everything and couldn't manage to do that. Almost I lost all my hopes as I didn't have any good references from the industry. My parents didn't have that many connections because we moved to Eskişehir and we didn't know that many people either. So it didn't really help not having enough references to find a job really. I managed to find a job, but the company actually didn't pay up my 2 months salary in the end. So it wasn't a great job either. I was using AutoCAD to actually model your residential gas pipelines. You know, the combi boilers and radiator heaters you have in the house. I was literally planning them out, deciding what sort of pipes you will need for it, what size radiator you will need for your house. One of my closest friends at the time applied for a scholarship, and he literally held my hand, took me to the place to apply for it. He made me fill my form and everything. I managed to secure the scholarship in design engineering field. I was supposed to work in the UK for a university that you actually guys can't get to see because you are not allowed to travel there. Eventually, my friend didn't get it, and I managed to go abroad. But he did quite all right, actually. He's a good academic now in Turkey. Government especially asked us when we come over to the UK not to open up a kebab shop because they were really scared we would just come over here and leave our education and just start some shops and make our money here. And they didn't want that, obviously. I had to find sponsors, and it was quite a stringent process to go through, actually. So quite stressful, I have to say. I had to select a university in the UK. Now I got the scholarship. How do you select a university? You need to think about how do these universities sort of rank in the world. I checked the websites. There are various websites you can use. My current university, like Karadeniz Technical University, was about 2,700 over there. But in the UK, you have about 3-4 universities that are really, really high ranked. And I emailed multiple of them and asked for a conditional offer because I had to prove my English level was enough. I needed some additional tests for it. They asked for really high grade point average, my scores from the university basically, and my English level. My GPA was just 2.89 out of 4. So that was just not enough for the top 3 universities. I got a test result for my English. I got 50 and it was just not enough either. So I had to work on that. My father worked hard and asked for friends for lending us money and everything, and I managed to attend a 4-week course, a private one-to-one lesson with Jalal Koral. I have to mention that name because I really can't thank that guy enough. The reason is I managed a miracle basically. People do say if you work 5 hours a day for 2 months, you will improve your score by 1 point. And I managed to do it in less than about 4 weeks time basically, thanks to this guy. So that was enough for University of Manchester. I secured a place there. I decided to book a pre-sessional English course, so get to learn the city, get to know the people a little bit. I arranged a host family. I managed to stick with that host family forever almost, yes. So one of the things I had to do is do research, basically. What is United Kingdom is about? I don't know much about this. I'm to learn about it. One thing I can compare here maybe is how the flags compare, actually. There are certain ratios on the flags, and I was quite interested to find United Kingdom's flag also has different meanings about it. St. George, St. Andrew, St. Patrick, all actually embedded in the flag. So it's good to know your flag, good to know how to draw it as well, actually. Like I said, I had to travel from Trabzon to Manchester, and I've never flown before. It was my very first experience, and I was alone. I'm from a small hometown, and you can imagine I don't know much things about things, basically, so it was scary. Only thing I knew was Manchester United, and I managed to settle in Salford, which is like a suburban area here in the UK. It is quite beautiful, to be honest. A lot of facilities compared to what I had. So I did my master's in University of Manchester. I managed to graduate and managed to get this clip out of the graduation video as well. I designed a counter-rotating vertical axis micro wind turbine, and that was sort of aimed for houses to use. So how do we generate power for our house? How do we generate electricity using wind power? That was my aim. And I did quite all right in this master. I managed to get a merit out of it, quite pleased. But while I was studying, I didn't just study. I also did some work. I did many temp work, basically temporary jobs for my master's. I managed to get a small temporary engineering job as well, try to 3D model things. I can't recommend working like this enough. It really improves your language skills, your soft skills, and you can send money home if you want, or save some money for your holidays, actually. Obviously, all these things I did them because I wanted references. I tried to collect many different references from different sources, and I used LinkedIn quite heavily to build up my connections, my network, and that really helped securing jobs as well. And this little note from David Gill was just, you know, the best thing ever, really. That really helped me. So I did a further 1 year of PhD actually, but like developing my wind turbine. But I got married and I realized I can't actually take my wife to the Tunceli, so I can't really continue with it. Really, if I did, it would have been very difficult. I quit the PhD. I had to start paying back my loan, and that was about £60,000. So if you're thinking about university, you need to think about, can you really afford paying this money back? And if you're an engineer, yes, you can. I did it. Yes, you can. I managed to find a job at Airbus UK, working in Chester. And this is the wing manufacturing facility, and I was advising them how to actually do these things. I wrote standard operating instructions. I talked to multiple operators, decide the best practice that they can apply for lean manufacturing. How do we reduce time? How do we reduce cost? So one of the things I was always inspired by is the nature. So when I look at this maple seed and when it falls down, I see it rotating. And can I really use this for my wind turbine? Can I use this for a wing? How can I apply this phenomenon in an actual real product? Maybe my challenge to you is, can you really come up with a product using this actual seed itself? So literally using the physical seed and make a product out of it and serve a purpose. So that's one of the challenges. From the Airbus, so I decided to move to a permanent role because that was a contract role and they don't give you that much development opportunities. I managed to secure a job in the subsea cable protection environment. I did a lot of modeling, a lot of simulation, hand calculations. I used spreadsheets. I used programming skills actually to do some nonlinear simulations. And I joined Trelleborg, I joined BMP in the end. What happened is I joined the company, worked for them and decided wanted to move to their R&D team, but that didn't happen. So I decided to join their competitor because there were bigger opportunities there, and it was a lot small team. So I would have had a lot more opportunities to develop myself, and they did really help me a lot. They actually put me on a garden leave, so I got 3 months paid holiday, which was amazing. The note from here is engineering knowledge stays with you wherever you go, whatever career you want to choose, you will get to use your skills. I really enjoyed my time at BMP, but went through a mentally difficult period. It was actually tough at times. It was sort of, the life was difficult, the work and the job. They were happy to develop my project management skills. They actually paid for some of my fees. I started a part-time distance learning, so it was quite engaging, really enjoyed that. I did it with Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. I became a chartered engineer after getting that project management experience. That was sort of one of the requirements, one of the competency requirements. And institutional mechanical engineers helped me do that, basically. They did help me a lot. I then joined their IMechE, Institutional Mechanical Engineers Lancashire Area Committee, and I was eventually elected as their chairman in the end. Probably they were happy with my input to the team, and they were happy for me to actually take the lead and lead it to different tasks. So the thing is, I really set my goals in advance and worked really hard to achieve them one by one. So you literally need to write things down and tick them one by one so that you can actually measure how well you are doing. And don't ignore your mental health. It's really, really important. Talk about your problems and be open-minded and accept support from anyone. And talking about these things really, really help. Like I said, my mental health was suffering due to personal pressures. But the main revolution was I eventually accepted this. And once I accepted this, I improved quite significantly, quite fast. I decided to allow more time for myself, look for jobs a bit with less commute, closer to home. I tried to do a lot more exercise, really helped me removing all those negative thoughts and feelings. I still managed to work my way through a patent application and design a cable ducting system. And there's a literally pattern you can actually search if you wanted to. But the note from here is from Friedrich Nietzsche, really. You need to really understand, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. And we all know if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. So these are the things actually probably helped me a lot. So the product I designed actually looks like this. It's a cable protection system and the cables bend. It's a lot of research and development went into this to develop it as a new application, as a new product. And we did actually testing, destructive testing and validation to prove that the concept works, design works. And actually, it eventually went to companies that became commercially available, and it's being sold in oil and gas and renewable markets. So you can see the size of things here. These are offshore platforms, wind turbines, basically. So really, really large things. So I found a job at Trafford Park after that. Like I said, I wanted to reduce my commute time. I became a mechanical design engineer at the couplings department. 10 minutes drive, it's really easy to get to. I cycle, I jog, my exercise definitely went up. It was a rotating machinery industry that I had no experience in, literally, so I had to transfer all my skills. They did give me significant training, and they still do, actually. It's a continuous improvement. You always learn stuff. And I recently submitted a patent application, and I can't really disclose it, I'm afraid, because it's quite confidential at the minute. Maybe next year, if I do this again, maybe we will get to see it. Literally, the things I do: design and develop couplings, we predict performance and on testing, we comply with standards, we provide technical support, we actually look at what's failed, why they failed, explain why they failed, write reports, we try to identify new technologies, and we actually deliver training now. We are technically experts in the company, and we have to deliver, train other engineers, application engineers. So for that, you get to meet with people, you may do link calls, Skype calls, online meetings, or actually get to see the place and get out of the office as well. So the couplings, you don't know much about couplings, I'm sure. So you have a rotating machinery like an electric motor. Maybe you have a pump. You want to drive some fluid up in the system, and you need to rotate this pump impeller to actually push it up. And you need the shafts connecting and coping with all the misalignments and all the loads that the shaft needs to take. So for that, we do physical testing. We understand how the coupling actually behaves torsionally. We create stiffness profiles. We understand what our flexible membranes actually do, what sort of stresses they go through. I can't really go into much detail. We don't really have much time for this, but hopefully you will get to see some simulation about it. We do some axial load tests. We try to sort of understand, if I put this much weight on something, how much displacement will I get out of it? And if I put that much displacement on a metal piece, how much stress will it see in the end? And can it really survive that stress level? Can it really survive it? So from all these technical knowledge, we create some performance curves, try to predict what would happen if we selected a different shape, different design, and apply it in a different application. So we do a lot of simulation, understand what the products do, how do they behave. If you torsion something, how much stress can it take? If you bend it, can it really survive the bending stresses? And there are many simulation tools you can use to understand these capacities, these performances. And there are certain things we have to understand, like the vibration. If vibration happens, why does it happen? Is there a critical frequency that you need to work to? So all those stiffness data we collected from the physical tests are applied in our simulation, and it helps our understanding and select the right product for the right job. Here you can see the stress distribution at the top left and the total deformation at the bottom right here. We also do some outreach activities to schools and places. I actually went to Kingsway School and sort of mentored their team. They actually ended up winning the overall prize for Go for Set challenge at the time. So it was quite a proud moment for us. I'm a STEM ambassador, so I actively seek for opportunities like this to get to talk to you as well. I also volunteer at the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, like I said. We organize events, we organize facility tours. I invited some of the people to our company and showed them some of our couplings. You can see my colleague actually demonstrating what the coupling is about. You can get to see all the events. These are also free, actually. You can actually get to see these. Most of these, though, were live events, face-to-face events, so there are not that many available at the minute, but eventually we will put some webinars as well. So what I would like to say is think about the problems around you. Think about the people, the animals, the plants, the planet, the solar system, really. Think about all these things and think about how can you make our solar system happy? Because if you did that, you'll make everything in the line happier. And innovation comes from people who really take joy in their work. You really need to enjoy what you are doing to actually come up with a complete niche idea. Come up with something that people want to buy, they want to use, they want to apply. So you really need to enjoy doing your work. If you give things to others, you will realize it makes you happier than anything else you can think of. It really does. You make somebody pleased, you will be a lot happier. So this is sort of what I wanted to tell you today. Looks like I'm about 20 minutes in. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. I could have told you a lot more, but I didn't want to take too much time, basically. If I can close this and go to the first page. Okay, Alex, did you take over then?
Yes, yes. I've just made sure that you're showing on our screen there, and we've got some questions coming through already here, Murat.
Excellent.
So the first one, quite a controversial one here to start with. So, do you prefer Turkey or the UK?
It depends how you are looking at it. I do prefer the UK when it comes to my job because I feel like I can apply a lot more detailed engineering here. The research and development I find here is a lot more intriguing than I would have found in Turkey. It is very difficult to find a job in Turkey at such a difficult level, basically. Such interesting job is difficult to find. And from my early experiences, as you can see, I couldn't even get a normal job, never mind a good job like this. So I think there are a lot more opportunities over here in the UK.
So we've got another one from Lakindu. What is your favorite project you have done?
I think the membranes that I am working currently is quite intriguing. That's for the couplings, and they have flexible membranes, and they are very non-linear, very unpredictable. So you have to do various tests to understand how can you actually model it. So it has a lot of research around it. And because I come up with this new idea that will be a patent, hopefully, that sort of made that project the best one for me, really. Okay.
So the next one we've got here as well. So what do you do in your free time, not including engineering?
Yes, I didn't mention any of that here. I have a dog. We have a caravan. We like to go to caravanning holidays. We spend a lot of time in the countryside, taking our caravan away. We may just nip out at the weekend, do things like that. But most of my time, I suppose, actually is taken by the institutional mechanical engineers. I attend a lot of meetings. We try to organize various events. I spend a lot of time and network with people, try to learn from them. They almost become your mentors, basically. As you talk to them, as you see how they apply their knowledge, how they solve problems, you pick things from them, basically. So volunteering is an amazing thing. You get a lot more out of it than you can ever think of. You wouldn't want the money, basically. You just want the experience, and volunteering gives you that.
So we've got a nice one here from Eben. So have you ever made a go-kart?
Um, No, not a go-kart actually, but one of those çatı arabası that we call the wooden cars. Yes, I did. I made quite a few of those with friends, but never made a go-kart or anything like that. No.
So another one from Lakindu into Vindu here. So what is your favorite subject, or what was your favorite subject growing up at school?
My favorite subject was maths to start with in the primary school. Then it became physics, but I realized my teachers weren't good at teaching physics, so I actually struggled actually with my scores. But I always loved maths and physics, to be honest, and I really enjoyed chemistry as well. So I don't know, maybe all of it.
So all those sorts of subjects,
Yeah.
are they the subjects that you need to kind of go into engineering?
For engineering, you need the maths. You definitely need the maths, and you need the physics, really. Physics is quite important if you want to be a mechanical engineer. But maths is applicable to every engineer. So you can be an aerospace engineer, I don't know, civil engineer, computer engineer, electrical engineer. All these people need to understand some programs and the maths behind these programs. So you really need to work on your mathematics, basically.
Sahib's asking, obviously you've been to different places with work. Have you ever been to India?
I haven't been to India. I'm hoping to go to India. I really wish to go to India. It's an amazing place.
We've got. Is there anywhere else that you'd like to kind of go as well with work?
With work, we have some manufacturing facility in India. So hopefully one day I will get to visit it. We have a manufacturing facility in France, in Czech Republic. I've been to France, I've been to Czech Republic, but I haven't seen my workplace's manufacturing sites. So I'd like to go and see them as well as soon as possible. And if this pandemic didn't happen, I would have been in France by now, I think.
We've got another question here. So what has been your biggest achievement of your career so far?
I would say that is my patent, the cable ducting patent, because once you actually have a patent, you are called an inventor. And I felt like that was the pinnacle of my career at the time. And I'd like to top that. I'd like to do better and bring more patents out there and help the society with them.
And we've got one from Eben here again. So what's the most exciting thing you've ever made?
Most exciting thing. Um, Okay, if it is a challenge out of engineering, that would have been the paragliding I have done in Turkey, in Antalya. And I am very scared of heights, and I jumped from a mountain with a guy at the back, and it was the scariest and probably the most amazing thing I've ever done.
That sounds very,
Parag
very scary. Very, very
yes,
high up as well. Um,
yes.
Eben's also saying, what things should I do to become an engineer when I'm grown up?
What do you mean? Can you repeat that again?
So she's saying, what things should she do during kind of school to become an engineer? I think you've kind of touched on this already, kind of with the subjects and things. So what should she do, or any
In
advice for her as she's growing up?
For an engineer, yes, those subjects are important, but don't just think about the school. Think about all the problems you see around you. It is not just about school at all. It is solving problems, identifying problems, finding solutions. And if a solution already exists, how do you make that solution any better? How do you improve the performance? How can you reduce cost of something? How can you make it stronger but actually lighter? So solving these challenges and making those little improvements is all engineering.
I know you mentioned about doing these things kind of outside of engineering, Murat. Is this where you kind of feel most creative and get most of your ideas from as well?
The nature gives me the most inspiration.
Yes.
You can see all the products in the world, they will be just the replication of what's already applied in the nature. And if you want to seek for the better products, we just need to look into the nature. Like that maple seed. How can a thing like this from nature fall down from the sky and decide to start spinning and spin so fast that actually slows down the rate it falls down? And things like this really, really amaze me. And if you go to Biomimicry Institute, you will get to see a lot of like literally physical natural products that are applied into engineering and made into a product. So things like that really, really do amaze me.
We've got a comment here from one of our attendees saying Turkey is a very nice place and they've visited Istanbul as well. And but then she's just saying, if you hadn't become an engineer, what do you think you would have been?
If I didn't become an engineer, I mean, as a different career, I would probably end up working in the grocery shop. And I would just maybe do farming because the grocery shop collapsed. So I would end up being a farmer probably in the end. Uh, but as a different career, if it wasn't mechanical engineering career, I would have probably tried for a civil engineering career. In Turkey, it was a bit easier to get into civil engineering than mechanical engineering. So I think they are doing good as well. So engineering is what I really wanted. But if it wasn't engineering, I would probably be, how do you call them, like a carpenter actually, process wood and make some furniture. I think I would have really enjoyed that, being like creative and applying some technique as well as some art form as well, actually. I would have enjoyed that.
The next question we've got here is, what is your biggest inspiration or motivation?
Biggest inspiration really comes from the nature again. I think the people around me do give me the inspiration as well. As they achieve things, as I realize people are actually doing really amazing stuff, I'm thinking, can I do anything like them, if not any better? Can I be a good leader maybe? So look at other people and try to learn from them and learn from their mistakes, especially. If they made a mistake, I don't need to make the mistake. I just learn and apply the correct rule, basically.
We've got a question here on Facebook actually. What is there another part of engineering you'd like to explore in the future?
I think electrical engineering is interesting because there's a lot of programming involved. And it is more applied than the computer engineering. And I like applying the knowledge, not just theoretically analyzing something or creating a software, but actually using that to solve a physical problem. I like to touch the products, really. I like to feel the product. So for that, I really need to understand how it is working and change the shape of it and have like feel it again and apply it and solve problems. And I think electrical engineering would have been quite good for me.
We've got another one here from Eben. She's asking kind of different things that you have made, and she's asking if you've made kind of a desk or a door or something like that. I'm guessing at home, maybe.
Well, I actually made a false wall that has cupboards and everything else. So maybe that carpentry, I'm not far off from the carpentry, maybe. I haven't done a table like she's probably thinking of, or I've done multiple things in the house to improve the house as well. Fixing everything in the house is what I do, really.
So yeah, so different things during the house, within the house as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got another here. Have any past engineers inspired you?
Past, like I said, I had relatives who were engineers, so they sort of inspired me with their lifestyles, really. That sort of probably gave me the idea. But if you look at great engineers, I mean, there are so many. I mean, I think the best one that really inspired me is Leonardo da Vinci. His drawings and the age, the era he did these things, just phenomenal. And the amount, the quantity he produced is just out of this world. And every time you look at a piece he produced, you get some inspiration. So really people like that do inspire you.
So we've got another one here as well. So for the kind of Leaders Award competition, which we're talking about today, we're asking the young engineers to draw inventions. Is this a really important part of engineering or design engineering, is that you draw out your inventions and things like that?
It is. And it is all to do with communication. How do you communicate with people? How do you communicate with, explain how than a single writing on a note, basically. So can you sketch things quickly? And a little sketch will describe a lot of things. And engineers obviously took this to another level. They made technical drawings. And we really have to understand how to use these drawings, how to understand them. And then from the drawing, can you actually make a 3D model and look at it, turn it around, get a cross section out of it, see what is inside it. You see a lot of things in the medical industry. They show you a section of a body, section of the skeleton, things like that. We do that for the metal components, for the plastics, for anything you can think of, ceramics. So we try to understand how these things work and explain it to others. So for that, we need drawings and 3D models.
Well, we've just got a question, another one here. So they're asking, what have you missed most during lockdown?
To be honest, didn't miss that much. Just seeing my friends, really. Probably that's what I missed, seeing my colleagues in person. But we do get to meet online anyway. And I really enjoy being at home and working from home. I absolutely love it. The thing I am probably missing out on is seeing my products in the workplace, getting to do my tests, physical tests. That's part I'm missing that out. So that's probably the most thing I'm missing at the minute.
It's good news then that you get to work from home and everything as well, which is
love
nice.
it. I love it.
Is it something you'd like to carry on in the future, do you think?
Most definitely. I think that's the way forward.
Fabulous. McKinney's also asking, do you miss Turkey?
I did miss Turkey. I missed my friends because I had to separate from everything. Literally, you literally detach from everything you know, come to a place you don't know anybody. Yes, I do miss it. But the scenery, the people I miss. I don't miss the days I lived there really because it was a big struggle for me at the time. Yes, that's pretty much it.
Going back to the kind of the Leaders Award competition that we're running, we asked the young engineers to think of an invention and design it. Is there anything kind of you would like to invent at all, Murat, or any ideas that you have that you could share with the participants?
There is no specific idea really. It is, I would have, if I was to try to come up with something for this, I would try to use a natural product like a bamboo or something, some natural material. Try to solve a solution, try to solve a problem with that using natural material that are renewable, that you can maybe come up with a wind turbine or a windmill for a house, for like a project like this that maybe generate electricity. Maybe help the society clean the air that we sort of keep polluting all the time. I mean, you realize the aircrafts and cars stopped running, how clean the air is. Air quality is amazing now. So it is us, the human, actually polluting everywhere. So how do we reduce that? That's probably what would be my challenge, really.
Eben's asking, how much thrust do you need to fly? Do you know at all?
I don't know, but what I know is it depends on how much weight you have, what sort of wing profile you have, how much lift can you get when you push something forward. So there are some science behind it, and it's all to do with the weight and the angle of attack, basically. How do you control the pressure differences on the top and bottom surface of your wing?
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a lot of factors involved with all that as
Yes,
well, isn't there?
yes.
So going back to kind of as you were a child, did you enjoy kind of building and creating things when you were a lot younger?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, as a baby, I used to play with trucks in the soil. I used to make things out of these, build like structures and things. Like we get involved with that wooden car. That was a big thing we did, probably the probably biggest thing. So I always enjoy tinkering with things. My brother always worked with toy cars with electric motors and take them apart, change the wheels, put something else, maybe make a pallet for a normal car. So make it like a tank. So play with things like that always really interested me. So yes, I love tinkering with things.
Uh, do you think, obviously, young engineers are thinking about, and they have to do this at school, they have to work with other people. Is it important to work as a team?
Most definitely, yes. Imagine you work on your own, how much you can deliver. If you work as a team of 100 people, what can you deliver? Can you make an Eiffel Tower with one person? Impossible. So you have to work with people. So you have to really understand how best you can communicate with them and get to their level, understand their characteristics, what do they like to talk about. Maybe start your conversation with a holiday and turn it into an argument in the end. So it's actually starting off nice, but still you get what you want out of it. How do you negotiate? All these things are very, very important.
You were speaking about kind of used to build things and create things. Is this kind of what steered you towards this career as well?
Um, It did, I suppose. Yeah, I knew I had the skills to be an engineer, to be a mechanical engineer. I did enjoy working with the mechanical parts, the physical parts. Like I said, I wanted to be a computer engineer at the time because I had this Windows 98 computer and I loved spending my time on it. And I used to play chess on it and everything. So it was the simplest thing you can see, but there you go. That's all I had. And but it wasn't enough to actually steer me towards the computer engineering. I still prefer the better university with the right degree and the right city.
Eben's asking again. So, did you saying you used to play with things and build things as you were younger? Did you used to use like Lego pieces as you were younger as well?
Yes, we didn't have that much money, to be honest, so we could only afford maybe 100 piece of Lego, to be honest.
Yes.
But I loved playing with those. It was really interesting to make the pieces like bring different shapes out. My father used to work in a grocery shop, like I said, and there was a promotion, and they got these large cups, like chocolate cups almost, that you could actually interlock to each other. And I had about 100 of those probably. And in the house, I would make large structures with those. So yeah, bricks and Legos, I think they're really good for your creativity. And creativity and critical thinking skills are the most important things for engineers. Creativity and critical thinking.
Are there any kind of important programs you kind of use for your work?
Yes, I use 3D modeling programs. I use Solid Edge. I used to use SolidWorks. So these are all 3D programs and 2D modeling programs. How do you create your models and drawings, basically? So this is what you use. I also use ANSYS, which is a simulation program. All those animations you have seen, like the blue colors and red colors and stuff, they were created in ANSYS, so I used that a lot. But there are other tools I also used. I used Abacus, I used Autodesk Inventor. There are multiple things you can use. And it doesn't matter which one you learn because it's all to do with skill. Once you learn one of them, you can apply it to the others. You will not be as fast in the beginning, but eventually you will be faster anyway. So companies only look for, do you really know one of these programs? You don't need to know all of them. They know you can apply the knowledge.
Do you have a 3D printer at home at all, Murat?
I really thought deep hard about it. I didn't buy it. Three of my colleagues have it and keep showing us different products. I actually had something 3D printed. I could have shown you, but it's not within hand's reach. Sorry, I'm afraid it's not going to happen. But I am really thinking of buying a 3D printer. But if I bought a 3D printer, I wouldn't just do it like a hobby. I would try to produce a product and sell it. That's what I would buy it for, because I can do all the playing with the stuff at work anyway. They have a 3D printer. I can use the programs and everything. So if I was to buy it for my home, it wouldn't just be a hobby for me. I would try to make money out of it.
Yeah, so we can use, for your own personal use, can't it, as well? Things like that.
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, if something broken, like a piece that you can't actually buy easily, you can easily 3D print it and just replace it with your 3D printer. But I can still ask my friends to do it for me, so I don't need the machine myself.
Get them to do the work instead.
Yes.
What's kind of the best materials you can use in your job?
You know, the material I like the best is polyurethane, because it is such a hard to wear plastic material that is very nonlinear. You can engineer it to any strength level you need and apply it in many different applications. And it is like literally design anything you want in polyurethane. I love that product. Metal is very predictable. Polyurethane is not. You have to account for a lot of things. And that challenge amazes me as well. So I do like that product.
Eben's asking, do you ever kind of use, or have you ever made glass at all?
Glass. Oh, I didn't make any glass, but I tried to cut a glass, and tell you what, it is difficult to cut a glass. It is difficult to chip it. I would never think about how to make a glass, but I've seen a lot of videos with amazing ornaments. People just are artists, really. So I know I can't be as good as them, so what's the point me trying?
I know, I think it's probably a material, it can be quite dangerous, I think, as well, can't it?
Glass, yes. I mean, even if when you cut it, you literally make a little tiny score, and as you are making those scores, all the crystals actually coming out of the glass, and you must make sure those crystals don't go into your bloodstream, because it can kill you.
Yeah, so very dangerous, like you said, and I think obviously you have to protect your eyes and everything as well, and
Of
have good
course.
protective gear on it for all that as well.
That is very important. Now you mentioned that personal protection equipment. We always use our gears. The gloves and the eyeglasses are must-have in certain things. But when it comes to rotating machinery, you will never see any glove. Nobody wears any gloves, because that's actually creating more risk. What if your glove caught up to a rotating piece and drag whole arm in? You lost half of it. It is like there are safety equipment designed for certain tasks. And some jobs are just risky, and you have to accept the risk and manage it.
So just going to end on this last question now, because we've gone through a lot of the questions there. So thank you for answering all those there, Murat, and thank you for everyone sending them in. We'll end on, do you have any kind of lasting advice for any of the young engineers listening today?
My main advice is participate in the Leaders Award competition and find out the institution in the end. Find out the institution you want to get involved with, volunteer for. It can be a charity, but go and volunteer as early as possible. Get to know people, get to know how to serve people. That's what you need.
I think that's some brilliant advice there. So thank you, Murat. And like Murat said, I hope you've all been inspired to take on the Leaders Award competition and start designing your own inventions and got your own ideas from Murat there today. And also use our resources on our website at www.leadersaward.com to help you. And please join us for our upcoming interviews in the next few weeks as well. I just want to say a big thank you to all those who've been watching and sending in those questions. They've been amazing, and I hope you've enjoyed answering them there, Murat.
I love that. Yes, really good questions.
Fantastic. I just want to say a big thank you to you for taking time out of your day to do this for us, and I hope you've really enjoyed it. I've put on a link to our online survey into the chat as well. So if whoever's listening and the participants who are listening, if you want to click that and fill that in as well, and we can relay that back to Murat as well. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I think we'll end it there. Thank you, Murat.
Thank you very much, Alex. Really
Bye
appreciate it.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.